Hi everyone, how are we doing today? Still your registered dietitian, nutritionist, and public health officer, Justina Uchina. I'm here again today to bring to us the management of diabetes mellitus. Remember, I spoke in length about this disease in my last topic. So you can go to search for diabetes mellitus where we mentioned about the complications and some of the risk factors of this. So today I want to take us to the dietary management of diabetes mellitus. How can you manage this disease? Remember, I told you that this disease is of public health importance. It's of public health importance because so many people are dying from this disease, and it's a problem. And again, the complications is another thing to think about, and also it makes people run into financial constraints, and so it is of public health importance. Remember what I told you, that the average lifespan of this disease in our country is 8 years. But if you can manage it well and directly how it should be managed, you can live as long as you want. So what am I trying to say is that the management of this disease is very, very important. So please watch that video. You will learn so much on diabetes mellitus and dietary management. Okay, today, so I want to take us to calculating carbohydrate counting, because this is a part of managing this disease. You must know how to calculate your carbohydrates. And why? What's the reason of all this? First, remember from the definition of diabetes mellitus that it is the high sugar in the blood, remember, which is characterized by what disturbance in carbohydrate, protein, and fat, and also is as of a result of absolute insulin deficiency or insulin insensitivity. So this is what is causing this disease. Remember, I told you to take note of the insulin insensitivity or absolute insulin deficiency, and again, that's this macronutrient, carbohydrate, fat, and protein is already in disturbance because the metabolism is so different from now a healthy person and someone suffering from diabetes mellitus. So it has to do with glucose, it has to do with sugar, and sugar glucose is the end point of carbohydrate metabolism. So what is very important here is what the carbohydrate intake. How should it be taken? What is the quantity that should be taken, and how can it be calculated? I know this is the problem so many people face. All they know is that they they eat a little amount of carbohydrate. This is how they are managing it for people that know, but most people are still ignorant of how to manage this disease. So many people are running away from carbohydrates. They don't eat carbohydrate food. But tell me, if you don't eat carbohydrate food, what else would you eat? Eventually everything we eat contains carbohydrates, everything that gives energy, and also the brain needs it to function. So what will you do? Where are you running to? So you don't need to fight carbs, just eat the right ones and the right quantity. Do you get it? So this is what I'm bringing to us today. I want you to watch this video to the end so that you get the importance of it. We have two aspects of managing this. We have the basic aspect, which is the basic aspect of carbohydrate counting, and we have the advanced process. So please, I'll take this one after the other. That is why I say you must watch this to the end so that you get the right information. First, know that is insulin issue, and this is mostly the problem of type 1 diabetes. I said type 1 diabetes, there is absolute deficiency of insulin in them, so they need insulin to function. So insulin is very, very important because to drive the sugars from the blood to the cells to provide energy for us. So if all this doesn't happen, one will still be feeling weak and others, and this is part of the symptoms of diabetes because all the sugars are still in the blood. It is not getting to the cells where they are needed for. Understand? So this is what is causing problem. If these sugars are being taken to where they should be, then everything will be fine. This is why insulin is important, and insulin is produced by the beta cells of the pancreas, I told you. So I want us to know about this insulin. We have the basal insulin. We also have the bolus insulin. So what is basal insulin? It is the insulin that the pancreas produces that takes care of the in between meals and overnight. So even when we are sleeping, this insulin is being produced by the pancreas to take care of the sugar levels and make sure that there is balance in the sugar content in the body. This is the work of basal insulin, and also it helps to suppress the production of sugar from the liver. So this is what it does even when we are sleeping. That is why it's basal, it's basic, it's very, very important. Then what does the bolus do? The bolus is being produced by the pancreas then to help control the food we eat. It also helps in the control of what? Sugar level. The two needs balance to take care of sugar in the blood system. The bolus counteracts with the food we eat, so it is in response to food. That's just the difference. The bolus is in response to food we eat, whereas the basal is the basic. It is always there to take care of between meals and overnights. So it's also some factors can influence this, like sleep, stress. Some hormones can affect the basal insulin, whereas the type of food we eat and the amount of food we eat and some other hormones can affect the bolus insulin. Remember I told you the two parts, which is the basic carbohydrate counting and the advanced carbohydrate counting. So I'm going to take us to this now. The basic carbohydrate counting is knowing the quantity of carbohydrate you should consume in a day. How will you know that? First, you have to determine the calorie intake. The calorie one requires in a day, though it is the work of dietitians, to calculate this calorie, because some factors influences this, like age, height, weight, activity level also affects this calorie needs. So when the dietitians have done this, have done the assessment and gotten to the point of this is the calorie one requires, so it's now easy to get the carbohydrate requirements. But in a general note, to help us, the standard, which is 2000 kilocalories, so we are going to work with 2000 kilocalories of diet. So when we have 2000 kilocalories of diet, how do we get our carbohydrate requirements for the day? First, you also have to know the standard, which says that the daily percent of carbohydrate from a kilocalorie should be from 45% to 65%. So we're going to use the 50%, because 50% can be also used to control diabetes, except if it is not controlling, that's where we monitor. If it is not controlling, or because of the type of drugs one take or the type of insulin one is taking, then we adjust. But in this, remember, it's a general note because I don't have an individual that I'm working with. I'm giving you as an example now. So in a general note, I'm working with a 2000 kilocalories of diet. In the 2000 kilocalories of diet, I'm also working with 50% of carbohydrate from this 2000 kilocalories of diet. So let's get 50% of 2000. So 50% of 2000, when you work it out, you have 1000 kilocalories, telling you that 1000 kilocalories should come from the total carbohydrates you eat in a day. So how do you convert it to grams? You have to know the Atwater factor, though there are professionals that know this, but in explaining this, what 1 gram of carbohydrate, the calorie it gives us, that is just it. When you eat a food and get a gram of carbohydrate from it, how many calories do you get out of the 1 carbohydrate? Are we getting to what energy do you get out of the 1 carbohydrate? So 1 gram of carbohydrate provides us with 4 kilocalories. Also, protein provides 1 gram of protein provides 4 kilocalories. Then, whereas 1 gram of fat provides 9 kilocalories. So these three aspects of nutrients, remember, they are the macronutrients. They are where we get our energy from. Remember my video in macronutrients and its importance. Please, you need to watch that video if you have not. So macronutrients and its importance. So these are the three nutrients that provides calorie, that provides energy to our system. So this is just what Atwater factor is. So if you look at this very well now, you will see that 1 gram of carbohydrate provides us with 4 kilocalories. So what will 1000 kilocalories provide? Divide the 1000 with the 4. So which will give you 250 grams. So we are looking at 250 grams of carbohydrate. A 250 gram of carbohydrate, it is what this individual working with a 2000 kilocalories of diet needs in a day. So how do you achieve this 250 kilocalories? First, also you also have to know what your serving size. Serving size, you have to watch my video on serving size and exchange list, so that it is a very important, because this exchange list were it was developed by the American Diabetic Association to help individuals having diabetes to manage their issues very well, and also to have a portion control, because when you have food portion control, you can be able to manage your diabetes. And you should know what it is. You should know what a serving size of food gives you. This is what exchange list is talking about. It groups food in their different food groups according to the quantity of carbohydrate, protein, and fat that they provide. So for you to know, you should know, it will help you know what a serving size is. Then you now make your choice of your portion size, because a serving size is the standard of what a food provides, the nutrient it provides. It has standard already. Let me just quickly mention, but you have to watch that video on exchange lead and food serving size, so that you understand it very well. There we also did some experiments with different foods, so showing you what a serving size is. But I'll go quickly to tell you the carbohydrate content of the different food groups in the exchange list. For example, we have the group of cereal starchy foods. They have 15 grams of carbohydrate alongside with legumes. So they have 50. They provide us one serving size of it provides us with 15 gram of carbohydrates. So for fruits, it also provides 15 gram of carbohydrate. For vegetables, it provides 5 gram of carbohydrate. For milk, it provides, depending on the type of milk, it provides 12 gram of carbohydrate. So our concentration here is on carbohydrate. That's why I'm taking time to list out these food groups and the carbohydrate content of these food groups. Also, sugar provides us with 5 grams of carbohydrate. So you have to know them, but the problem here is to know the serving size, what a serving size is, because that one serving size is what is providing you with 15 gram. So you have to watch that video, please, because we want to get a 250 gram of carbohydrates. So for you to get that, you must know what a serving size of food is. Understand? That will give you that 15 gram of carbohydrate. From that 15 gram, you now know how many servings in a day you should get, or we'll call it food choices. So when you look at that very well, we already have a 250 gram of carbohydrate we are trying to achieve. So how many servings of food, how many choices of food can we get? How many choices of carbohydrate do we choose, understand, to get to this 250 gram? Most of the oral medications taken, understand, look into 10 to 15 gram per one unit, per one tablet of them. And so depending on the quantity of tablets the person is into, or people that are using insulin, also there is a calculation. We have the long-acting insulin, we have the short-acting insulin. So the long-acting insulin has its carbohydrates we look at, because it stays longer in the system. They act as the basal insulin, whereas the short-acting acts as the bolus insulin that takes care of the sugar being eaten at a time. So basal insulins most times look at 8 to 10 grams of carbohydrates, whereas in the bolus insulin we look at 10 to 15 grams, just like the oral medications for diabetes. So we are using the range of 10 to 15, mostly 15. Let's use the maximum as part of it, which is 15 gram. So for every choice you make, it should be a 15 gram of carbohydrates. And also the one good thing about it is that the food exchange list that was developed by the American Diabetic Association is also based on 15 gram of carbohydrate. So the exchange list, the food they are giving us with the quantity they are giving us, is already in 15 gram. So when you take one food from a food group of it, you know that you are taking, with the quantity they said there, you know that you are taking already one choice, which is a serving size of carbohydrate. So made easy. So you have to go and watch the food exchange list and serving size, my video, please, so that you understand better, and the practicals are also there. So what am I trying to say is the choices. How many choices of this carbohydrate can we make from a 250 gram of carbohydrate? So how many times are we going to take it? And we are looking at 15 gram carbohydrate. So how many choices are we going to make? Let's use the 15 gram to divide the 250. When you divide 15 grams by 250, you will get around 16 choices, or so 16 points. So let's say 16 choices of carbohydrate. So 16 serving size of carbohydrate. Very simple. When you have gotten to this stage that you know the number of servings you are taking in a day, you are very close to management of this disease. So when you've gotten this in a total day, you now share it in the between meals. according to the meals you are taking the whole day, the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner. And remember snacks also. The snacks time, you can have, for a healthy individual, you can have like 3 snacks. And what we advise for snacks is using your fruits as snacks. So a serving of fruits using as snacks is providing 15 gram of carbohydrate. Remember what I told you, what the food exchange list is made up of: different groups of food with their exchanges of carbohydrate, protein and fat. So one exchange of fruit is already telling you that it has 15 gram of carbohydrate. But now, what is one exchange of fruit? That is what you ask yourself. Please watch my video in what exchanges, foods exchanges and food serving size, so that you know what fruit exchange is. So what am I trying to share? I want to share it now. Let me just go ahead and share it. Let's say breakfast. This food we are making, we say 250 gram. When you consider the type of insulin the person is taking and the type of oral medications the person is on, and also some factors. Remember I told you that this 250 gram might change. I'm sharing it now. I shared breakfast 60 gram, lunch 67.5 gram, so dinner 67.5 gram. So in between the meals I have about 3 snacks time. You can call it mid lunch or mid breakfast, then bedtime snacks. That's what they call it actually. So 3 times snacking, but for a diabetic patient at least 2 times is okay. 2 times is okay. And remember, snacking is what? Fruits and your vegetable. That's what you use for your snacking. So for the 60 gram of carbohydrate for breakfast, remember, how do you now break it down? You've already shared this. When you calculate all this sharing that I made now, okay, let me go again. I said breakfast 60 gram, the mid breakfast 15 gram, lunch 67.5 gram, the mid lunch 15 gram, dinner 67.5 gram, then this bedtime snack is 15 grams. So when you add all of this, it will give you that 250 gram of carbohydrate in a total. So when you have achieved that, remember for breakfast, when I said 60 gram, the 60 gram I'm talking about is what? 4 servings. Why did I say it's 4 servings? 60 divided by 15. What will it give you? 4 servings. Then you will know that you are going for 4 servings of carbohydrate foods for breakfast. Understand? 4 servings, 4 exchanges. So watch the exchange list so that you can know what I'm saying. Understand what is this exchange? Okay, let me just quickly give us an example of it. For bread, a slice of bread is 1 exchange, and it has about 15 gram of carbohydrate. A serving of a sliced bread is 15 gram. So if you take like 4, you have completed the 4 choices, the 4 serving size that you need to give you 60 gram of carbohydrate. Are we getting it? So you should know that your milk is always also providing you with carbohydrates. So let's assume that it is milk and bread you are using for your breakfast. So the milk already, you take about 2 tablespoons of it, is providing you with about 15 gram of carbohydrates. So you have taken 1 serving from your milk. So we are now looking at 3 servings remaining. So from the 3 servings, you cannot take bread. Remember, a slice of bread is 1 serving. So when you take about the 3, you have completed the 4 servings of carbohydrate you need. Are we getting it? It's just for us to understand this. When you understand, it works very perfectly for you. Okay, so you don't have to eat any other thing at that time because you have completed it. Then during your snack time, you can, remember snack time I say 15, for the mid-morning is 15 gram. It's just 1 serving. And we use fruits for snacking. And 1 exchange of fruit is a serving. So what am I saying? Exchange, for example, if it is orange is 1 medium size. If it is banana, just 1 finger. So I'm just telling you, but already they are all there in the video. The different fruits and the vegetables are there listed, so that you know the carbohydrate content of them already in my video. So this is what I'm saying. So at that time you want to get 15 grams for your snacking, you just take 1 orange. If it is banana, just 1 banana. If it is apple, 1 apple. So this is what a serving is. That will for fruits, it provides 15 grams. I just want you to know. Sometimes it's confusing, but when you understand it, you manage yourself better. So this is how you continue to do it. For the lunch, I said it's 67.5 grams. Is 4 servings and a half. 4.5 servings in a day. Let's assume that what you are taking for the lunch is your rice. So rice is a half standard cup is what is a serving. And a serving, I told you, for the cereals and the starchy foods provide 15 grams for an exchange, for one serving. And that one serving of rice is half a standard cup. You will see it also in the video. This is what a standard cup is. This is just the same everywhere. The whole world uses this standard cup. It is a measuring cup, so it is a standard for measurement. So this is what we call standard cup. So I said half a standard cup. This is the half. So when you take a rice of this, is what a serving size that will provide you 15 grams of carbohydrate. So you have to watch the video. You really have to watch it so that you know what you're eating. So when you take about 2 of this, you've already taken 2 servings, which is 30 grams of carbohydrate. And we want to achieve 4 servings and a half. Understand? You've already taken 2 servings of rice. Are you saying from this? Let's assume you are taking it with beans. Also, half of this, which is this cup, is a serving of beans, and that beans also gives you the 15 gram I'm talking about. So when you take about 2 of it to add it, I hope you are seeing this cup. So when you take about 2 of this cup again to add to the rice, you've gotten another 2 exchange from this, which is a total of 30. 30 plus the 30 rice is what? 60. I guess so. You've already gotten 4 choices, 4 servings of the carbohydrate. We are just looking for 4.5, which is 0.5. You just put a little, which is the 0.5. So you've taken all the 4 and 0.5 servings a day. This is also how you do it for your dinner. So just watch the video. Different foods are being mentioned there. You see the serving size of them. You'll see the serving size of them so that you can easily calculate your meal. So this is how the basics of calculating carbohydrate. Very simple and easy for those who want it. So when you do it the first time, you don't need to come and start using cup again to measure your cooked food. Remember, it is cooked food. So you don't need to start again because you already know what it is and what it will give you. Sometimes you do it equivalent to your household measures at home so that you know it. When you want to take it the next time, you can just put it in your food. You can just use your spoon, carry your food. You already know that this is the carbohydrate quantity I'm getting from this food. That's the good thing about knowledge. So that is just it. So this is for counting. We are not done. Also, in taking different products of food, sometimes we get things outside, we buy things, or we don't know the carbohydrate content. Maybe you ate something outside. How would you calculate the carbohydrate content? Because one thing about this goal is that you have to calculate whatever you eat. You have to calculate the carbohydrate content of whatever you are taking. So how do you now calculate? Let's assume that is a packaged food. How do you get the carbohydrate content? Because so many people are confused about that. I'm going to teach you again. For example, let me just get this thing is. Okay, I want to use this for example. This is a biscuit pack. You can see it. It's a biscuit pack. Every packaged product has nutritional information label. This is where people get it wrong. They don't read labels. So you have to be reading your labels to know the content of carbohydrate in the food. For example, in this, they will give you the information of the calorie in the food. That's what nutritional nutritional label will provide for you. It will give you the information of the calorie, the carbohydrates, protein, fat, the vitamins, minerals, if they are in the food. But our concentration, remember, is the carbohydrate. So in the carbohydrate, you go to the carbohydrate, the total carbohydrate, they say it's 71.75. 71.75. That is what they say is the total carbohydrate here. And again, it doesn't stop there. You also have to know the dietary fiber in it. Remember, dietary fiber is a complex carbohydrate. You can watch my video in macronutrients and importance of fiber. You will understand that fiber, dietary fiber is also a carbohydrate, a complex carbohydrate. So in the nutritional label, they will give you the carbohydrate content. They will also provide the dietary fiber information for you. In this aspect, the dietary fiber here, they said is 2.2 gram, whereas the total carbohydrate is 71.7 gram. So for you to get the total carbohydrate you are eating, and this is 100 gram, every product is a standard must provide this nutritional information in 100 gram. So some people go as far as also providing the information for a serving size, understand? But all of them, all products must have this 100 grams so that you know the standard of of the food in a 100-gram food. So this is for the 100 gram. What I just read out, it doesn't have the serving size of this. But all of this, if you can look at it, is, I don't know if you can see it, this is 18 grams. Let me get it like this. So this is 18 grams. this sachet, this biscuit here is 18 gram, but I'm reading the value for 100 gram. So for 100 gram, it's giving us 71.75 for the total carbohydrate, and this dietary fiber there is 2.2 gram. So for you to get the total carbohydrate you are consuming from this biscuit, you have to what, to subtract the dietary fiber content from the total carbohydrate content. So minusing it now will give us 69.55 gram. So the 69.55 gram is for 100 gram of this. So you will now ask yourself, for this 18 gram of this just one biscuit, how many am I eating? Because sometimes we eat more than one, more than two. So for this pack, if you can get the carbohydrate content you are consuming in a pack, that means you can calculate for maybe 2 pack. You now have to add it up. You understand? So for 100 gram of this, a total carbohydrate of 69.55 gram is gotten. So you ask yourself, for this 18 gram, what do I get? So you cross multiply. When you do that, you will get that in 18 gram of this, it will provide you with 12.5 gram of carbohydrates. So this is how to read nutritional label. You don't need to be scared when you see products or how you get the carbohydrate content of what you are eating from a product. So this is just how you calculate your carbohydrates for a food label. So it's very important for you to calculate your carbohydrate content for a food label. So always track your carbohydrate by recording your meal and your snack taking. This is a very bold step you have to take in what, calculating your carbohydrate. It's very important in the management of sugar. I hope you are getting something from this. So the next one is the advanced knowledge, advanced process of managing this. It's mostly work for people having very high insulin insensitivity. So it has to be very straight. It has to be very straight. Thereby we'll look into the glycemic index and glycemic load. So the glycemic index is telling you the food you eat, how it can raise the blood sugar, how fast it can spike the blood sugar. So depending on the type of food. So knowing the glycemic index of food, of different food, helps you to know the type of food you should take. Glycemic load is also another important aspect that looks into the glycemic index multiplied by the amount of food you are consuming, the portion size you want to consume now per 100%. Understand? So this is how you will know if you're taking the right food you should take, because some foods are high in glycemic index and glycemic load. You should know them, avoid the ones that are very high, especially the ones that are very high in glycemic load, because they will quickly spike the sugar, like increase it in a very high, and depending on the quantity you take. That is why we always say that a diabetic patient can eat from the food choices they have already. It can be modified. It can be modified with quantity, giving them the right quantity they should eat. The right quantity is very, very important, because that determines the glycemic load. Please, you have to watch that video if you have not watched the video on glycemic index and glycemic load of foods. Please, it's very, very important. There, the definitions were stated, and the different classifications of glycemic index and glycemic load were stated, and the food examples with their glycemic index and glycemic load is there, so you can easily make a right choice of foods that are low in glycemic index. And also, this aspect of advanced calculation of carbohydrate, there is also a goal. Just the way we say there is a goal, we get the goal of the total carbohydrate the person needs in a day. This is also how the goal of glycemic load is taken in consideration, then making sure that the person gets to that load in a day from the different types. It depends on the type of food now being eaten, so there will be a selection of food for such person. So this is an advanced way of calculating carbohydrate, especially for people that are having issues with management of their sugars. They need a very close monitoring that their sugar level is inconsistent, is out of control. So this is people that must follow the advanced rule of carbohydrate counting, which is looking at glycemic load and glycemic index of food. So I hope you have gotten a lot out of this. Please don't forget to give a thumb up to this video, and also subscribe. If you really love what is happening here, please subscribe. Please, very, very important.